going on, friendly neighborhood nerds? Almost did it again. We didn't talk. I didn't give an intro, but right when I was about to, I said, "We're not live. Let's do this again." So I only wasted maybe a minute and a half of Aramis and Danny's time. Hopefully that's okay. We are joined today by Godzilla. With guest of Godzilla's is Aramis. What's up, Aramis? How you doing?
Hey,
I like it. Or should I call you Ant Man? Whichever.
both will work. Both will work.
We also got Danny from Next Issue Podcast. Thank you for joining us, Danny. How you been?
I'm doing well. It's been a pretty good week. I'm ready to chat comics and all that stuff.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Who made it to the to their LCS today?
Not today. I just read the digital stuff that I wanted to review, but other than that, no new comics yet.
But you got some digital stuff in, so you got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
What about you, Aramis? You get your stuff in?
I don't have an LCS anymore, unfortunately. So I pretty much go digital nowadays.
Okay.
Either that or I just kind of trade weight.
All right. How about you? How about you go first, Danny? What did you read this week? What's going on?
The first thing I'll read will be something that came out today. I read that the new Defenders book by Al Ewing and is it Javier? Hold on, I was trying to pull it up. But sorry, 1 second. But yeah, it's the new Defenders book. It has Doctor Strange, and it's related. I don't know if you read Marvel 1000 with that masked rider.
Yeah. That super old school character they brought back.
Yeah, so we're finally seeing that character again. So I've been interested.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. I've been interested. I've been interested in like, when are we gonna see that dude again? So here he is, and the first issue is really about Doctor Strange assembling a new group of defenders, which you can kind of see on the cover. But it's very good. It's really interesting. I like Al Ewing's writing a lot, although I will say my one complaint was that it had a little bit, like, there's a lot of narration because it's trying to set everything up. It's Javier Rodriguez on art. That's what I was trying to think of.
Got it.
Which is super cool. Also read the new Masters of the Universe Revelation #2, written by Tim Sheridan with art by Mendeley, I believe is her name. And this is all based like the same universe as the Netflix show.
Really?
Yeah. It's
all canon. Like they work together.
Yeah, it's a prequel comic. Kevin Smith's even credited on the show on the comic because it's all based on like his story from the Netflix show. So that's pretty cool. And the one thing that really surprised me this week was that Pennyworth #1 from DC Comics, because it's a spin-off of the Pennyworth show that's on Epix that I don't know that anyone I don't know anyone that's seen that.
None.
Is that thing still going?
I don't know. I know you can watch it on demand, but I don't know that the show's still going. But
who's gonna go add that as a subscription? Epix? No.
I don't even know what package I can get Epix on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool because Alfred hasn't been around in the DC universe for a while,
right?
Because he's dead. And so it's nice to read a book with him, and especially it's a young Alfred that looks back at his childhood and then looks forward to like more current stuff.
Yeah.
So it's actually very good, and it's only a 7-issue miniseries. So I'm kind of I'm like, though when it's a miniseries and it doesn't ask, like, there's not a big ask for me to like do a big collection.
Yeah.
I like those kinds of things.
That was dope. Real quick, Joker Fox. Yep. This Saturday is Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
And as I go through what I picked up, maybe you guys get to see at least 5 from a comic book LCS that shall remain unnamed that doesn't give a fuck.
Listen, they already bought them. Sometimes they can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, they'll know. They don't want to make you come back, I guess, too.
Right.
Which is appreciated. The last thing I read, and that was no surprise that I enjoyed, was Batman '89 #1. This is written by Sam Hamm, who worked on the original movies. I think he did the screenplay for one of them, and then worked on the story on the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's drawn by Joe Quinones, who really captures the way it looked, like all the characters, how they looked.
Mm-hmm.
When I met Joe, I asked him to do a commission for me a couple years ago, and I told him, "Can you draw your favorite Batman?" And he drew the '89 Batman. I don't know if this series was already in the plans.
No,
Back then,
probably wasn't. You probably made him draw that, and he's like,
I triggered it. Yeah. Well,
"This is it."
from what I've seen on interviews, he's been pitching an Batman '89 series for a long time.
Yeah.
I just think it's finally they finally decided to do it, so it's very exciting. The coolest part is that you get to see Billy D. Williams reprise his role as Harvey Dent, as Tim Burton kind of intended it, because that was going to be the continuity. And somebody in our comments on the channel said that Batgirl, not Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, who's in the comic, is based off of Winona Ryder, who they wanted to cast to play Barbara Gordon eventually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really
I'm trying
cool.
to think. Winona Ryder. Yeah, that would work. That'd be
yeah. I mean, I would have watched that movie for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you watch anything, though. So,
that's true. That's true.
If it has Batman on it, I would watch that.
Yeah. That's why when there was news of like 3 different Batman movies coming out at the same time, I was like, yes, please, yes.
Yeah. Again, and everybody's over here like, oh my God, another Batman movie? Danny's like,
nah.
Fuck yeah.
Give me.
Thank you, Reed, for your titty comment. Titty!
But yeah, those are the highlights. I've read some other stuff, but it's just catching up on really old comics.
Cool. I got quite a few stuff. So Aramis, how about you go next? You said you got your stuff digital. What are you reading? What are you picking up that you're loving so far?
So recently, I read this trade, the series of trade called The Woods, which was basically about this high school, and it just got magically transported to this alien world.
Yeah.
And a group of the students, they decide to go out and see what kind of things they can find, and they find like this weird colonial era group,
and
it gets a little weird. But
really,
I have promised myself I would start this thing.
Oh, cool!
Holy Jeebus Christos!
That's a
big bitch.
I will start this soon. I don't know when, but I will start it.
Why don't after this episode goes, you make a promise to us that you'll read at least 10 pages of that after this show.
You got it.
10 pages. And then in Discord you go, I did it. I read the 10 pages.
Yes.
Real quick, I got a bunch of stuff to show y'all. But I will tell you this much. Today, Nandor Fox, he's been on the show before. We talked about him. We talked about Seasons, his other book. He has a new book coming out called Manchild. So when he jumps in, we'll go ahead and talk to him about that. But we also got a couple spicy news takes today. Some stuff that as I was going through, I was like, wow, this was a pretty heavy news week. James Tynion leaving DC, turning down his contract, go to Substacks, and he's not the only one. We have some other names leaving. Tim Drake, letting everybody who reads Tim Drake, know what they already knew, and then pissing off some other people about it who clearly didn't read Tim Drake. Marvel and DC, we'll talk a little bit. It's kind of, I feel like it started with Black Widow, but as far as suing Disney Plus, but it's kind of expanding as I definitely knew it would. Marvel and DC are getting called out on whether or not they're paying their the creators of these characters that they've made $21 billion off of.
Yep.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll wrap it up with Doom Patrol being sassy on Twitter. I would be lying if I said that my Marvel fanboy in my heart wasn't a little offended. But I'm gonna try to keep my best face on and pretend like I don't even care. I don't even fucking care what they said. But with that said, Nandor Fox Schaefer, what's going on?
What's up?
Welcome back to the show.
Guys. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back, and thank you for having me back. This is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Can I just say that I want to know what you're doing with your mic and the sound and whatever you're using, because you sound amazing.
The whole set, like the arrangement of the comics, everything looks like top notch.
Yeah. Sound quality, the setup. I'm like, I'm gonna fanboy out on here. Sorry. The content creator of me is focusing on the wrong thing. You're here to talk about your Kickstarter. Was it Man-Child, right? Man-Child #1. Just throw that.
That's right.
Real quick. Share screen. Boom. Look at that right there.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like I just dropped in here and interrupted everything.
No, it was actually great because I'm going to talk about what I bought this week. But it was right in the middle of a segue. You came in and I was able to seamlessly introduce you as if I planned it that way. It was great. Everybody's like, "Wow, this
awesome!"
So tell us a little bit. So we talked about seasons. That was awesome.
Yeah.
You obviously have a gift. Talk to us about this one though. The tone seems to be a lot different.
Yeah, it is completely different. And I will say just real quick, the last time I was on here, I was talking about Seasons and Seasons Volume 2, and I just wanted to share with you that this is it right here. This is the book, and we made it, and it turned out beautiful.
That's awesome.
It's over 100 pages. It's a hardcover, and yeah, it just turned out so good, and I'm so happy with it.
Hardcover.
But yeah, it's a hardcover. So just like Volume 1 here. So yeah, we got them together now, and spring and summer, and we'll go to fall and winter. So the series is still ongoing. But yeah, I just wanted to say, I did a lot of streams and I was promoting it, and it really helped out, and it helped get the word out. And this is what happened. We made the book, and it looks awesome, and it turned out great. So, I really appreciate it when people want to talk about what I'm working on and how the word spreads, and it really makes things a lot more exciting and a lot more fun and cool. But yeah, so that it is, Seasons is a lot different than Man-Child, and Man-Child is honestly something that I didn't know that I wanted to write it. I love superheroes. I've grown up with comics. I love just classic superhero storytelling, but I didn't really want to do that because everyone does it in some form, and a lot of the times it can be really derivative, and people will look at your character and go, "Oh, well, that's just Batman, or that's just Spider-Man, but like your version." And I really try to avoid that. I really want to work on things and create things that people look at it and they go, "That's Nandor," that is his work, and it doesn't remind them of something else necessarily, even though that can be good sometimes. But when it comes to superheroes, it can be a little tricky to find your voice and to find a character that stands out. So what I wanted to do with Man-Child is create a character that you could put him alongside Spider-Man, Captain America, the Avengers, Ant-Man, these classic, the Inhumans like Black Bolt. You could put him in that pantheon, so to speak, and he would fit. So I tried to create a character that you look at him and you go, "Oh, that fits. That looks like a classic 60s or Silver Age type of character." And that became the Monarch Crier, which is his name. So George Jeffries, his alias. Yeah, he's the Monarch Crier. And so Man-Child, just to give everyone kind of the pitch here, is a it's going to be a 6-issue limited series that tells two stories simultaneously. One is in the Silver Age inspired universe that follows the Monarch Crier as he battles his arch enemy, Professor Pilgrim, and the Monarch Crier has the ability to. He has this voice box that emits just powerful like sound waves, sort of like Black Bolt or a character like that. And he can fly, and he has heightened senses. And then Professor Pilgrim he is the sovereign of his own island in the North Pacific. He's like a super tech genius, and they you follow him on his adventures in battling him. And so that's one story. So, and it's all told in like a Silver Age style. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of bravado and gravitas and all of that excitement, and that feeling that when you're reading it, you're getting transported back to this time or this era of comics that is very revolutionary at the time when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko were creating these characters. And then so you're reading that, and then you'll flip the page, and all of a sudden you're in the modern world following this super comic book nerd named Rufus Boston, and he's this
is that
just
the man-child?
Yeah, totally. And that's him. That's man-child basically.
Right.
And you know, he is all of us in some senses. You know, he's not us in some ways. He's what we're afraid to become in some ways when it comes to being someone who's so engrossed in this stuff, but maybe checks out of reality too much. You know, it's those things that as fans and as and it's completely me as someone who's so obsessed with stories and superheroes. You know, you can get just transported into that world, and you just want to stay there, and reality sucks. And so that's really Rufus Boston. That's his character, and you're gonna be like pushed and pulled between these two worlds of seeing you know, this world you love to be in, and then the real world, and how that contrasts with each other. And it really is a celebration of the medium and a celebration of Stan Lee in particular, but it's also a commentary on comic book fandom in the modern day. And what I like to say, it's a bridge between the dream and the dreamer. So you get to really bridge that with the series and see how they connect. And it's one of my favorite ways to kind of put it is, you know, when you're in your day-to-day life and you pick up a comic, you really are transported to a different world, and you escape into that world. And when you're reading this comic, that's what you're going to be doing, but even more literally, because you're going to be reading it and you're going to be in this other world, and then you're going to flip the page and you're going to be in the modern world. You're going to be like in your world. And so it kind of takes that in a meta narrative way and puts it into a comic. But yeah, that's Man-Child. That's what I've been working on for a couple years now, and we launched the Kickstarter last Monday, and yeah, it's been going really well.
That is super awesome. Go ahead, Aramis.
Where did the idea for this comic come from?
It came from a few things. The spark of the idea I got after Stan Lee had passed, actually. And because when he had passed, a world without Stan Lee seemed wrong to me, and it just seemed like a sadder world and a lesser world. And I wanted to do something that would pay tribute to him, that would give back in a way. And I was thinking about, well, what would that look like? And that gave to me, I was inspired to go, okay, well, yeah, let me make a character that maybe it would look like a character that maybe Stan Lee would have created, or Steve Ditko would have created back then. And that led to, okay, well, I want to do that, but I don't just want to do a throwback book, because that seemed a little boring to me. And I didn't want to just like do a book that people would read and go, oh, cool, that's cool nostalgia or whatever. So, so that was a half of it. And then the other half, I thought, well, how, you know, because a lot of modern readers, they maybe have not read the classic stuff because I mean, comics have changed so much, and the way they're written and the way that they're crafted have changed so much that you look at classic 60s and 70s books and
Mhm.
you have to kind of acclimate to the way that the story is being told, and they are more for children. They have more of an innocent vibe to them, and it's more black and white. And I thought, well, things have changed so much. I want to do something that looks at that and that kind of comments on the changes that comics have gone through and heroes have gone through, and that's where the modern story came about. So one thing led to another, and I thought it'd be really cool to take a reader on this journey where they have to um where they get that push and pull of being uh back in the good old days, so to speak, but
Sure.
were they really the good old days? And they
Right.
have to think about that. And I think that's a really good way to catch someone kind of off balance and makes them think about the medium itself and where heroes have where they've come from and the beauty of that, but where they've progressed and evolved and gotten better or worse.
That's pretty dope. So you said a couple different things there that make me feel like you gave yourself a pretty hard job, a difficult task. So
Yeah.
you said, well, you open off by saying that you didn't want something that was too derivative, or that was, that had people go, that's just a different version. You wanted your whole own idea, right? But then you
Yeah,
also
yeah,
not only did you put it in your Kickstarter as far as in the text there as I was scrolling through, but you said it. You said you wanted people to look at this and look like it could fit in the world of Stan
hmm,
Lee,
Yep.
Kirby, and Ditko, right? And it's like to be
yeah.
able to give you that, and then you said a third thing just recently, and it's already lost my brain because that's how my brain works. But it was another one to where I was like, in order to meet that originality goal, in order for but you couldn't do these two things, or you had to do
Yeah.
this thing without like, did you ever come across a part of your story that you were writing and go, I can't do that, never mind, because you know how people say, like, sometimes you borrow from other works without even knowing it, and until it's on paper
Yeah.
you go, I just that was from something else. Did you ever have to scrap anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was really difficult because in that pursuit of trying to create and write something that was in the spirit of it, but not a complete rip off of it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's a very you know, fine line and trying to teeter totter on that tightrope of like, okay, how do I navigate this? And um, it was really important to me when I was developing it and writing it that I just took things that I loved about it
Mm-hmm.
and loved about classic storytelling, and I started to read all of the Incredible Hulk issues 1 through 5, and Uncanny X-Men issues 1 through 5, and just going through those trades that I have and kind of rediscovering these stories. And I went back to the golden age of comics and read a lot of golden age stuff too, just to kind of see where the frame of mind of everything was. And I did a lot of research. This is the most research I've ever done on a story because I read like 3 or 4 biographies on Stan Lee, and I read uh, a book or two on the history of Marvel Comics and just how everything was kind of put together and how they made stories. And I tried to put myself as much as possible in that frame of mind to go, okay, how did they do this? Like, how did they actually, and why did they do the stories that they did? And so it was like I was trying to travel back in time and think, if I was sitting in the Marvel offices back then and I was trying to come up with a superhero,
Mm.
what would I do? And so and thankfully I haven't read so much of classic stories that I feel like I have enough leeway to um not do any not stealing, because there's a lot of things that I've missed or I'm just discovering. So
Mm-hmm.
it really helped me to look at it from the modern day and look back and kind of see what I could do and put my own spin on things. And really, what I strove to do was uh, find the best things that I loved about these books back then and bring them to today because yeah, I don't want people to read them and because you read those books and they're exhausting. Like Stan Lee writes so
Mhm.
much. Like
Yeah.
So a lot of
there's so many
narration.
dialogue. Yeah,
Right.
there's so much
Right.
narration and dialogue between characters, and each page is like an 8 to 9 panel page, and it's just
Mhm.
so much. And I was like, okay, I want to do that, but I want to do it in such a way that, you know, it's palatable, it's digestible to the reader because like I said, comics have changed so much. But I did have to make sure that I tried to get the spirit of it, but not just copy anything.
By the way, is Joker Fox a relative, or do you guys just
Oh, I don't
share?
know.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. Yeah.
That's one of my
So
fans.
so they have. Oh, okay. They have a they have a question. Nandor, what part of the
Yeah.
writing process do you feel is the easiest on this project? I think it's a good question
For
because usually we
me,
ask like, what was the hardest and what made this difficult? What was like that? This part I got.
yeah. Well, it really is. So anytime the best part for me about writing and writing comics is when when you figure out the message that you're going for, what you actually want to say, and that really excites you and makes those pivotal moments in the story even more sweeter and engrossing to kind of discover for yourself. So there are lines of dialogue and there are scenes that I will write down in my notebook when I'm writing a story, and these scenes probably won't be until like the end of the story or in the like the second to last issue because that's where I'm headed and that's what I want to say. So those parts when you get to the end, and I'm actually, it's really cool because I'm writing the final issue of Manchild right now, and after all this time of being with these characters and I'm finally getting to the part that I'm enjoying the most, which is what I want to say about it and what I want to say about these characters and what the story has all been about. So that's been the easiest part. I mean, it is a lot of a weight and pressure because I want to make sure that I'm articulate enough to put out what I want to say, but um, it's where I've wanted to go all this time. So it's a joy to me to finally kind of pour it out and give
Yeah.
it out, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it feels like the weight's been lifted when you get to that point.
Speaking of the writing process, how detailed are your scripts? Seeing that to try to emulate that whole Marvel method from back then.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, yeah, it was really funny because when I started to write it and I was thinking about the series, I thought, I wonder if I'm gonna have to do this the Marvel method because maybe that might be the only way I can do it correctly. But
Mhm.
um, I'm such a heavy script guy that I I was like, I can't do that. Like it's just not in me to do that. So
Right.
they're pretty detailed, or they're detailed enough to where a lot of the time I will make my own layouts and I will send those to the artist and
okay.
we'll work on that. Like because of course I'm not the artist, so they have a better eye. He has a better eye at how things should be laid out. But there are times when I know exactly what I want to see, and I'll write it that way. I'll be like, panels 1 through 3 are on the top row, and this is how much space they're taking up of the page, and I'll send a layout to the artist, so they can get pretty detailed. It's only when sometimes it comes to maybe some action parts that I go crazy on this page or
Yeah.
this panel
Okay.
right here. Like, I
Right.
want you to have fun with this part. You should have fun with this and make this look as exciting and cool. Sometimes I'll say specifically where I want a punch to land or a kick to land or whatever,
Mhm.
but a lot of the time, um, depending on the sequence, it's like, just make this exciting. Like, what do you want to see? As an artist, like, what do you want to draw? How do you want this
Right.
to be fun for the reader? because they have a better insight onto that.
That's cool. How did you? So, last question. We'll wrap this up. First of all, for everybody who's come to the chat, what's up? And thank you for hanging out with us, Joker Fox, Polly, and of course, Cypher World coming in with the Lo Tigre. Wish you were here. He couldn't make it. He's been the universe has been shitting all over his technical capabilities with his PC and stuff.
Oh man!
So I'm glad you're in the chat though. Last question is, how did you? So it looks like Jay Mazar. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Jay. I say Mazar.
Mazar,
but
and then DC Hopkins. Is that colors or letters?
Yeah,
or
he's
Letter.
he's the letterer actually.
Also,
Yeah,
how did you
Jay,
get that team together?
Yeah, some really talented people. I was really happy to be able to work with them. But Jay Mazar, I found him on a artist forum called Digital Webbing. I go to a lot of different forums and like Deviant Art and places like that to scope out different artists.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
that I wanna work with, and it can be. It took me a very long time because with this book in particular, you know, who is drawing or comics that feels like they're from the past. I mean, modern styles of art are a lot different than they used to be. But I have my favorite artists in Marvel and DC, like Greg Smallwood and Chris Samney and artists like that. And I was like, I want to find someone like that who, again, kind of gives a spirit of this era or this style, the simplicity and the cleanness of it, but also is palatable for modern audiences. So I reached out to Jay. I found some of his work, and he did actually a lot of. He hasn't been with a major publisher yet, but he's worked with major writers and artists on pitches, and he actually does. More of his work is more like noir stuff, but see, I like that. I was like, that's awesome. Like that gives me that sense of, walking into a bar with a fedora and smoking a cigarette and just like hanging out. It just has that really classic vibe and that vintage style. So when I scored him, I knew, and it was really interesting because we had this back and forth where he was like, I don't do a lot of superhero stuff. Like, why are you bugging me about this? And I'm like, because I know you can do it and I know you'll do it really well. And that kind of challenged him in a way. And he was like, well, let me see what I can do. And it's just exploded into this, and it's become amazing to work with him. He's awesome. Done some just amazing work. And DC Hopkins, the letterer, I found him through a referral from one of my artist friends, and he said he's worked with him and he was a really good letterer. And he's working with And World Design, which does a lot of image books. Like I know he was working on Terracana with Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel for Image, and he's worked for Boom and Dark Horse and a lot of great publishers. So I really, lettering is super important.
100%.
I think a lot. Yeah. So I think a lot of people, it's really important to get a good letterer because that can make and break your book, even if the art's good. So yeah, I just really reached out, I've worked with different people over the years, and I've made connections, and there are some people I've wanted to work with for a long time, and I have a list of people, and I always like kind of checking in with them and seeing how I can, if their schedule's free, if there's opportunities to work with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, DC, I don't think he meant that kind of fedora.
DC letter, the Pennyworth comic I talked about earlier. And I mean, so I like the lettering that he did because there was a lot of narration in that comic as well. So I can see that translating over very well to your book. And then also I'm on Jay's.
Are you saying DC Hopkins did Pennyworth?
Yeah.
Oh, nice! Wow, that's dope.
And yeah, cause his name sounded familiar because I just did a review for that this week.
Yeah, I was wondering how you knew right off the bat. Like, wow,
I know,
you know your letters.
Yeah, I know all the letters.
He actually was nominated for an Eisner in 2017.
Yeah. Listen, no one's gonna beat Stan Sakai's lettering for a long time. And then looking at Jay's website, like his shadow pinups, and then the stuff he's done with Marvel stuff, like I can just see how this was something that kind of maybe led you to be like, he'd be a good person on this project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the variant covers, all of them.
Yes, yeah. I did want to. I did want to talk about those. Yeah, because that's been, I gotta say, one of the most exciting parts. You know, I don't think there's been a project I've been more excited about than this one, and a big part of that is being able to work with these just ultra talented artists. And I've been wanting to work with these. You know, it's one of those things where when you start and you start putting out your own books, and you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to work with these people until I, maybe land a book with a bigger publisher or something.
Sure.
And so when I was like, oh, but this book is such a comic book for fans and is about fandom itself, and I wanted to be a fan like myself and wanted to go, let me try to reach out to my favorite people, the people that I'm fans of, and see if they'll want to contribute to it and if they like the project. And we got Welby, Tom Riley, Tony Harris, and Nick Pitarra, all people that have worked with Marvel, DC, and Image Comics. Really great artists. Welby worked on Marvel's X with Jim Kruger and Alex Ross recently. He was the artist for that book. Tom Riley's worked on some Dark Horse stuff. He did an Immortal Hulk issue recently. He also did a Marvel Snapshots X-Men issue that was just incredible. And then Tony Harris, I mean, he needs no introduction. He's like one of the best. I know a few Starman fans that may get this whole bundle just to get that variant cover. So I'm gonna send them the link.
That Welby is. I need that posterized. That's what I need.
I wanna make a poster of it. That's actually I haven't announced stretch goals yet, but that's one of the stretch goals that I'd love to do, where we make that a poster, and like every backer gets a poster of it or a print.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, Tony Harris, he is an Eisner Award winning artist, and he's Starman. He's worked with Brian K. Vaughan on Ex Machina for Image, or for Vertigo, I mean, and he's just such an incredible talent. And I actually own the original art for that piece. He actually sent me the original art.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super dope.
I'll show it real quick.
Oh my goodness, that's super cool.
Yeah, that's
awesome. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah,
that's good shit.
And Nick Pitarra is a good comics dude all around. I've never heard anything bad about him.
Yeah.
I love Nick. Yeah. Jonathan Hickman is like my biggest inspiration, my biggest writer inspiration. So the fact that I'm able to work with someone like Nick, and I love Manhattan Project so much. And so he was one of the most excited when I reached out to him. He was like, "This book looks awesome! Like, I totally want to do this." And I was just completely blown away. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And Michael Garland did the colors for his piece, and he's working with Nick Pitarra right now on Leviathan with John Layman from Image. Yeah.
That's super dope. Well, the link is right up there on the top in the description of this video. Of course, if you have not liked and subscribed and all that, please do so. We appreciate it. If you're on your phone, just close the live chat, click like, and then come back. Also, check out the Discord, because the link to the Kickstarter, put it right up there on top to go and support Manchild. I think it's clear on the screen. I haven't done that yet, so I will. I promise.
I'm debating whether I want to get drawn into the book or not.
Yeah, I always.
That's something I always look at, because it always catches my eye. I want to be in a comic.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, I know.
Is
if
there
you're
gonna
gonna
be
be in one, yeah.
after this is collected? Is there gonna be a hardcover version of this too? Because I'm a sucker for shiny and hardcover.
I would love to do that. The goal for this series right now is to
Hmm.
do single issues, and after the final issue comes out, I'll probably do a collected edition, and I'd love to do that. I honestly like my dream is to do it in like a maybe an oversized treasury edition type of thing,
Mm.
or like a Marvel Masterworks type of deal, like those
Yeah.
classic hardcovers. Have a dust jacket and maybe
Oh
have some
yeah.
embossing on it. And but yeah, there's something and another stretch goal that I'd love to do for this series. Uh, I'd love to do like a separate small print run where it's newsprint, where it's like a classic like 60s newsprint where it's the very like grainy
Oh
and
yeah.
the yeah, I think
With
that'd
that
be
actual paper or the look of it.
yeah. No, like I would love to do that. Like either for the single issues or do like a separate graphic
Yeah.
novel version where it's like in newsprint. I don't know. I just think it would kind of help complete the vibe that I'm
Yeah.
going for with it.
You need to put a sticker on that says "Warning: This book may disintegrate in a decade."
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, MVs, that is Nandor Fox Schaefer, author of Seasons and Manchild and Lifeline, and
Yeah, Lifeline.
the owner of what is it, Foxhole Publishing?
Foxhole Comics. Yeah.
Foxhole Comics. All right, cool. All right, you want to talk real quick about? Don't you have a podcast or something?
I do have a YouTube channel. Yeah. So it's a Foxhole Comics on YouTube. You can subscribe there. I love to update everyone on what I'm working on, and I do streaming where I show off the artists I'm working with and things we're working on. I also just do topic videos on things that interest me. I have a series called The Art of Writing Comics where I look at my favorite books and I just kind of go through them and look at my favorite parts, my favorite sequences, and talk about what possibly the writer and artist were working on, with that particular scene or why the scene works, and kind of analyze it in a writer's perspective. But yeah, there's a lot of content. I started it in February of this year, so it's been something that I've been trying to get better at and kind of get my feet wet with it and see what happens. But it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed doing it.
Dope. Okay. We're gonna move in real quick I'm gonna show off some stuff I bought today. We're gonna make it quick,
Yeah.
because I know people want to get into the news. Are you gonna stick around?
Yeah, I'd love to stick around.
All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody, I'll make this real quick. I got a bunch of stuff. We talked about hardcovers. We talked about dust covers. So, in light of that, let me embiggen, as Judah likes to say. All right, here we go. So, I do want to show off real quick. He says he doesn't care, but I'm still gonna try to look out for him anyway. I don't know where the fifth. Oh, here it is. I went to my LCS today. Actually, I'll even say it's my alternate LCS. I went to this other place because they didn't have what I was looking for, and this guy had all the free comic book day stuff, and I'm like, "Is that on Saturday?" He's like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, just go ahead and grab a max of 5." So, I'll show you 5 of what's going to be available. There was way more than this, of course. Black plus Calexic.
Yep.
Cool.
I got book 1 of The Boys, or issue 1 rather, and then the reprint of Herogasm.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Suicide Squad King Shark. I have no idea what prompted me to grab that one.
Maybe the movie you just watched.
Oh yeah, sure. And Timothy Snyder. I did not buy this for any other reason, but besides, I thought the cover looked cool. I'm a sucker for cool looking covers, and it just looks like it's gonna be dope. I'm like, ooh, that looks like it's gonna be sexy. So those are the 5 ones I got free. I also picked up Nice House on the Lake #3. This is like a shiny cover.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that cardstock.
Yes, cardstock. Written by, I found out it's Tynion. We all say Tynion.
Yeah.
But it's Tynion. James Tynion IV, which we will be talking about here shortly.
I'm glad we have a writer to talk about that stuff with.
Yeah.
I definitely want
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Polly, stop. I will open it. I'll read 10 pages after this broadcast of that book. I picked up Milestones Hardware #1. Grab that. Trying to support some local. So this is funny. So I'm in Savannah, Georgia, and then in the Facebook group of my main LCS, he posted that he has these for sale. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna support it. So it's this dude, Michael Lee Harris, who I'm gonna hit up and we'll talk to him. We'll have him on the show. But so I sit there and I grab these, and I'm like, yeah, I'll check them out. I'll support some local writer. And as I'm checking out, he comes in, and then the comic book store owner, he's like, hey, so this guy, he wrote those. I was like, oh shit, that's dope. So we had a nice little conversation about whether or not the whole publishers paying and all that stuff. So we'll get to that. So it'll be interesting. I did grab this one, Polly.
Oh, that was my favorite thing you put on the Discord today.
Yes. I also have a link to the Discord in the chat, so come join us there. But how do you say it? Sienkiewicz? Yeah, Sienkiewicz. Yes. So got Department of Truth #8, this variant. So I'm super behind. So I have 8, and then I have 10 and 11, and then the rest of them are on order. So I'm not going to touch them until I did read #1, which is definitely what sold me. I'm like, okay, I gotta get them all. Then I got some like local art. So I'm gonna hit her up and see if I can get some more stuff done by her. Isn't this dope?
Yeah,
that's really good.
That's a pretty awesome print. Unfortunately, she put her stuff out to sell at the shop and didn't put her name on it. So I was like, you gotta sign your stuff. So wrapping this up really fast. So if you look behind me, I got a second shelf that matches the other one. And so it looks like it's a big long shelf and it covers that wall. But I don't have enough books. So I went to the store today. I was like, you know what? I need to get my book count up. And so what I did was I went ahead and got some fat boys, some thick boys to put in there. I got the Daredevil Omni.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So we'll start reading that one on a plane in a couple of years. And then I got 2 Guardians of the Galaxy Omnis. The classics. And then I've got the Brian Michael Bendis Omni.
Oh, that's a lot of Bendis.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of Bendis. So I picked up those bad boys, and then of course, oh yeah, I almost forgot about this one, and then we'll be done.
I'm glad Robo took getting a second shelf as a challenge to fill it up this week.
Yeah, I guess I don't have to do it all tonight. I did buy book 5 of Chainsaw Man.
Hell yeah!
I think so. All the manga I've ever read has been off the Shonen Jump or other kinds of websites that we don't have to name. But I'm like, you know what? Let me stop being a cheap ass, and and this will be the first series that I'll buy physical books of. So he only had 5. He's gonna start ordering more.
Yeah, good luck getting those first volumes.
Yeah, is it hard?
Yeah, it hasn't been reprinted in a minute. But I think a reprint's coming.
You know what's funny is that he laughed. He did that same laugh. I said, hey, do you have like the 1 through 4? And he went, yeah, I guess I'll try to see if I can order some. And I didn't really get it. until just now because you laughed
Yeah.
and then said that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm an idiot. Cool.
But it's good stuff. It's a good stuff.
So check this out. Yeah, these are the other Department of Truths that I got. Fucking good book. Fucking good.
Chainsaw Man can be your series you hunt for, like when you go to, whatever stores or cons or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, this was my alternate LCS. So my LCS, my main one, is in downtown, and it's a smaller shop. He usually carries like newer stuff or things that'll sell. And then this alternate one was like a more old school one with tons of long boxes to go through and stuff, and tons of back issues and just wall to wall everything. And he had that one Chainsaw Man.
Wow.
But I did get my latest package in from Galactic Comics and Books out of Statesboro, Georgia, who is a Bad Idea retailer.
Oh, cool.
I got my Final 5 sticker. I tagged Bad Idea in Twitter today, and I was like, hey, so do I turn this in for a DeLorean? And they retweeted me and were like, soon. So I cannot wait. They told people you want this sticker, but they did not tell anybody why you wanted it. And so like we're all just holding on to it. We don't want to stick it to anything. We're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this sticker.
Wait, so how many more comics does Bad Idea have left?
Well, we finished up ENIAC and Tankers. So I did get ENIAC number 4. That's the end.
Yep.
And then I picked up Tankers number 3. And then Sleigh Bells is a one shot. And I like the way that they just kind of like, where is it? There's the camera. There you are. They just tell you it's a one shot, which is cool for like you guys are like super genius comic book people. And I'm like, how do you know when it's a one shot? Like, no, you just know. You just like you can just tell it's a one shot. And I'm like, Bad Idea is like, hey, idiot, I'm just gonna tell you. There's no more. Just listen. And then I got 1 and 2 of the lot, and holy shit, like it gives me like this weird, creepy feeling of like kind of like a Department of Truth kind of feel to it. And you want to talk about noir? This, if you haven't had a chance to if you haven't had a chance to read the lot, this is super dark. Actually, I bought 2 so I can read one and then not open the other. But like this is the first opening page of it. Let me do this real quick.
Much like Chainsaw Man, good luck finding it though.
Yeah, I think this one will be. That's not right. That's not what we want to do. We want to do that one. And it's like one of these kind of things where the longer you look at it, the more fucked up it's happening. Like I still don't really know what's going on because I'm working my way through and I'm like, what the fuck?
I love it. It looks like a film strip, right?
It is a film strip, but then like the lady's being sliced up behind her, but floating.
Yeah.
It's some dark shit. So we got all that, and that is what I got today. There was one other thing Dreadstar. So Jim Starlin did a Kickstarter for Dreadstar Returns, and I did get that package in too. So a lot of good stuff. Let's get into the news. Yes, I hope it's a mystery ticket. Like, how fucking dope would it be if it was like, all right, did you get your sticker? Well, you get an all-paid expense trip to the headquarters of Bad Idea.
Right.
I'm like, oh my god.
Somebody with the sticker is gonna inherit Bad Idea comics.
Yeah. Exactly.
At the end of the thing.
If you already peeled yours off, it's null and void now. But if you haven't peeled yours off, open it and read out the number that's on the back because you now own Bad Idea. Yeah.
Something like that.
That'd be so dope. So like I said, we got quite a bit of news to cover. That's exactly Joker Fox, bro. I hate it every time I want to start a manga, gets popular and sells out. I'm telling you, Shonen Jump. If every publisher put out something like Shonen Jump, you wouldn't have to go to the dirty websites because it's impossible to find them in print. There's no like cool subscription manga like site. It's like, okay, it becomes impossible. Like I gotta go to the bad place. But Shonen Jump is $1.99. So any Shonen Jump, which Chainsaw Man is $1.99 a month in it's all there. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Boom. James Tynion IV is leaving DC to focus on creator-owned comics with Substack. So this has caused quite a stir this week. And it's not just him. So he did come out, and this is actually his Substack right now. This is one of his free posts, and he pretty much goes down and he lets everybody know exactly the kind of like what happened. So DC offers James Tynion a 3-year renewal. Tynion, a 3-year renewal on the books, but if you look at what he's winning Eisner Awards for and selling records for, it's not with DC. And so at the same time, he receives a grant from Substack to create a new slate of original comic book properties directly to their platform. And so basically the contract goes, here's this chunk of money, make some comic books that you're going to put on Substack. And oh, by the way, taking none of the IP rights and none of publishing exclusivities. That's huge, but it's not. It doesn't stop there. There are multiple other people joining the fray. Saladin Ahmed, Jonathan Hickman, Molly Ostertag, Scott Snyder, and of course James Tynion IV are jumping on these deals. What do y'all think about this?
So every time I review one of Tynion's books, I always make this disclaimer. I love his superhero stuff, but all his creator-owned stuff is so much better because he has no restrictions, he has no editorial. Even the Nice House on the Lake, which is through the DC Black label, he doesn't have to worry about continuity or any editorial pushback, right? So I can see why something like this would be appealing to all these creators that they've already made a name for themselves. They have a following, and these people will. I mean, I think all those names you named are on a list that I have at my LCS. That any book they put out, I'll check out at number one, because I already know the quality of their work. So something like this. Now, I had to Google what Substack was when this news came out, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like newsletters, and you pay for them? What?
Yeah. But it's newsletters directly from the people that you love, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I hate to make the comparison, but you know what it sounds like. You already know what I'm gonna say. It's OnlyFans for journalists and writers and stuff. So yeah. But hey, Aramis, wake up. No, I'm playing. What do you have any thoughts on this?
So to kind of pick up from where it left off, they've made a name for themselves already, and they have a lot of titles out from DC, and this is the better deal for them, and they should take it. Because the awards that they win aren't from DC; it's from their own stuff, and it's just better for them.
All right, Nandor, writer, self-publisher. What does this mean to you?
It's a couple things, because it makes you think about where you want to end up. Because if there are writers that are working with the big two, and they find the big two isn't as good as what they could be doing on their own, it makes you think about that. It makes you go, wait, do I want to strive to work with the big two, or should I just keep doing my own thing and building my audience that way? So as a writer that's navigating this industry, that's how I think about it. But I read James Tynion's newsletter. I read that entire thing. It was a long newsletter that he was talking about his thought process behind why he wanted to work on this, why he chose this, and he laid it out very well. And after reading it, I thought, yeah, like why wouldn't you do this? Because he was saying how difficult it was to um create, like he's been creating all these new characters for Batman and the Batman line, and he's not getting any residuals or royalties
Mhm.
or anything from all those new characters he's creating.
That's right.
And he's not going to get any more money than he is from just writing Batman, from doing his Batman comic. And uh it, when you look at that and you look at that negotiation and that contract of like, yeah, you're gonna own all this, and I'm guessing they gave him just a huge sum of money or offered him, just something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And um it's really difficult for writers to fund their own books and make their own books. I mean, even with Image, you are the one that's paying for everything. Image is distributing it and doing marketing and advertising for you, but you're paying the artists, you're paying the letterer. It's all up to you, even when you're working as an independent with independent publishers. And uh when you're given this lump sum or this advance in making your exclusivity to this platform, and they're giving you this money to do it, it feels like they're what as a creator and as a writer, if someone did that to me, it feels like they're going, go have fun and play and do what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do. And that's just like completely freeing. And that's something that every writer and creator would want. And I was actually on this stream with Kyle Higgins,
Hmm.
and Kyle Higgins is doing Radiant Black, and he
Yep.
Ordinary Gods right
Yep.
now. And he was talking about it, and he was saying that and he's friends with James Tynion and Scott Snyder and those guys. And he was saying that he hasn't talked to them since this deal, but he knows that for them it's really important uh, that they're able to pay their artists and bring new people and new talented people in that they've seen and that they've worked with, that they want to sort of create their own studios and bring those people in and have their own. I don't know if it's like a publishing line or what they want to do, but it's like they want to work with the people they want to work with, and they want to hire the people they want to work with, and this gives them that bandwidth to do that. And I do think it's interesting because I don't know. I really hope that Marvel and DC looks at this and they go, man, we got to change how we're approaching some of this stuff, because
Mhm.
if you're having these top writers leave your books, they're going, the fan base is going to follow them.
100%.
I mean, they'll still get Batman, but they're going to be, I mean, they're
So,
going to be
Danny,
going
don't
over
worry.
there.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
Danny.
Well, and I think if you look at Scott Snyder, he's the one that's got he's got a hand in every pot, right? Earlier in the year,
Yeah.
he did a Kickstarter for his Noctera collection.
Yeah.
So he's in the Kickstarter world. He's doing the Comixology original through his Best Jacket Press that was announced a couple weeks ago, where he's doing 8 different books with 8 different artists. He's also doing the Substack, and I think they just announced that he was going to do a book with Capullo somewhere.
Mhm.
And then I mean, and I'm sure that we'll see every once in a while. We'll see a DC book. Oh, I think it's a Black Label book with him and Capullo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like he's still gonna be doing stuff for DC. So he's the one that kind of brought in. I mean, Tynion was one of his students, and like all these people, I think that this next generation of writers and creators really, like, they're trying to change the comic industry from within, right? Because they figured out we have the fan base, and we're the ones creating all the stuff. Like, why should only the big corporations benefit from all our hard work?
That's it. No, that's exactly it.
And I don't know if you guys saw the news about this was a few months ago, but Ed Brubaker was talking about how he made more money off of the like residuals from the Winter Soldier movie that he made during his entire run writing Captain America.
Yeah.
And it's like they're not. It sounds like in the entertainment industry, with the comics industry, they're not either paying them enough or not giving them enough credit for what
Yeah.
they're able to do, because all these movies and all this stuff is like that's based on what these writers and these artists have made, and it's you got to give credit where credit's due, and it feels like and that's been something that this industry struggled with forever. I mean, like going back to like Jack Kirby, like it took Jack Kirby years to get his original artwork that Marvel had, and it was a lawsuit about getting his original art from Marvel. It's like that's crazy to think about, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And I know Kyle Higgins also said, he worked on Power Rangers with Boom for years, and he created Lord Drakon, and the Ranger Slayer, and he said he's like, I'm making zero off of that, for creating those characters. Like I haven't seen anything from that, and it makes you go, oh man, that sucks. Like, that's not cool.
What's interesting is I was talking about this with the LCS owner and the guy, that local writer who's in there, and they both said something interesting. They said, well, they knew what they were getting into. That's just how Marvel contracts go. And I'm like, yeah, that's a hot take, because no, like I don't think anybody's saying anything about contractual obligations or legality, right?
Right.
And so Polly kind of like hits it here. The big two can always get more writers, and good writers too, maybe possibly, but it's very unlikely for them to give away the rights to the characters. How would that go? And this is the point here. I said, what they're going to have to worry about is retention. Globally, and if not globally, definitely in the United States, the Overton window is shifting, and more people are starting to pay closer and closer attention. And whether this is birthed because of Bernie Sanders or whatever, but this idea of exploited work is becoming not just this hippie, super left community college in Olympia, Washington. You know what I mean? That everyone says whatever. This is becoming like mainstream conversation. Across the nation, fast food places are shutting down or have lines around the block because people do not want to work for them for minimum wage anymore. And we're seeing this more and more. We talked about this last week with Black Widow suing Disney Plus or Disney in general. So this conversation's kind of exploding. And I'll tell you what, if any writer that Marvel wants because they're good, that writer is going to have access to Substack or whatever the medium is that's going to say, hey, check this out. Do you want to make a character that is your art that you own, and be paid for it? Here's how it works. The last part of that is, how would that even work? I'll tell you how it works. It works in the same way that it works anywhere else where people have to evolve or die. And it goes like this. No, you're not going to keep the rights to your characters. But, and I can't see this happening without a union, excuse me, but I will say this much. Here's the character. You will get X% of royalties if used in any, and not in the way that Valiant has been fucking over people like Joshua Dysart and other people. Yeah. Not in the way that both Disney and DC both have in their contracts, where they state in more or less, and summarized, it goes along the points of you can receive royalties, and it's based off the discretion, which is going to be like, what did Brubaker say here? They sent you a thank you note and $5,000 after making $1 billion fucking dollars. The MCU has made $21 billion, and people are like, "Well, that's what you get. You don't own the rights." No, fuck that.
But people are
tired of it.
To your point, Robo, the reason that Brubaker's making more money from just his cameo in the movie is because the Screen Actors actors have a union, right?
Yep.
It's
The
in their
Screen Actors
contract.
Guild. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So to your point, I think that's definitely something that either is going to happen or the industry is going to have to change in some way to adapt to
Yeah,
that.
I mean, like if I was, one of the top dogs at DC and Marvel, and I was seeing all of these great writers kind of not fleeing, but
Mhm.
just going away.
Mhm.
Like that would really worry me because it's like like for me I'd be like I want you on these characters because this is going to be a good book and like people are going to keep buying it. And when's the last time Brubaker has done a book for Marvel or
Mhm.
DC? I mean, it's been years,
Yeah.
and I'm sure a lot of that is because he feels kind of burned by them.
That's
And
it.
he put, I mean, he's, how many people love the Winter Soldier? It's like so many people do, and he
Mhm.
should get the money, and him and Steve Epting should get the money for, when he appears and things. And it makes me sad because it's like I want to see those writers work on Marvel and DC books, and the fact that they don't want to because of the deals that they get it, as a reader and as a fan, it's like, oh man, like are we never gonna get another Marvel book by Brubaker? Like that would
That's right.
suck.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know that this is true, Polly. That the big two characters sell books and the smaller publishers just the writers. I don't know that's true because we have seen popular writers. We've seen Batman like get dismal sales because people didn't like the writing or where the story was going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like major characters. We've seen X Men through the '90s or the early 2000s rather, really hit a slump because of what maybe it's publishing's fault, maybe it's editor, whoever the fault it is. The stories just weren't working, and so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what country they're from. Like if an Indian writer or a Chinese writer or a French writer knows that these other aspects, because I guarantee you, Substack is not going to sit there and go, these contracts are only available for American citizens. Like the fact of the matter is you have to evolve or die. And I think that what Black Widow, what Scarlett Johansson is doing, and what I think was happening with the writers, artists across the board, across mediums, are demanding that if you're gonna make billions, I
Yep.
need to see a fair, not 50%. Like it's not some crazy
Yeah.
egalitarian
Yeah.
utopia, but you're not gonna pay me $20,000 and then go and sell the thing that I created for $2 million. That's not gonna be a part of the
Yeah.
contract anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think I'm always gonna be on the side um, of the worker, even if the worker is wealthy. I'm gonna be on the side of somebody. This is
The corporation is always wealthier, so
yeah,
screw them.
exactly. That's why I didn't really like I didn't really like when people were like, Scarlett Johansson's not bro. The worker doesn't mean that you're broke. The worker means that you provide the product. And
Yeah.
if the corporation makes $1 billion and pays you 1
Yeah.
million, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Well, and it takes these people at the top to set the template for everyone else on the smaller level, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly right. Yeah, and it's not. I mean, what's happening right now? The reason why we're having this discussion is because this isn't crazy. This is happening. Like
Yeah.
James Tynion, deuces. I'm gonna go make my own books, and guess what? We're all gonna follow him because what is he winning awards for? His
Yeah.
own creative work. So they're
Yeah.
realizing that they can absolutely do it.
I am
I mean,
interested
think
in
about that. Like, sorry, but like, think about that. Like, someone offers you, like, you're gonna, like, you want to keep writing Batman, like the pop culture icon of like superheroes in DC. Like, do you
Absolutely.
want to write Batman,
Yeah.
or do you want to do your own thing?
That's right.
And he was like, I'm gonna do my own thing. It's like, as a fan, as someone who loves Batman, you're just like, how could you do that? Like, that's Batman.
Sure.
But that must be how rough the deal is,
That's right,
and how
that's
rough
right.
it is as a creator.
Yeah. Now I will say as much. So I'm in Cullen Bunn's Discord, and Cullen Bunn himself is he's pretty active in it. It replies all the time and all that, and we were talking about this very topic before we actually went live. And one of the things Cullen Bunn replied to somebody else was like, he didn't elaborate too much. It was a very simple one-liner comment, and he said, to summarize, I don't have it exactly word for word, but the ability to keep your own work is overwhelming. Like it is something that and the rest I'm now inferring, but I imagine that for a writer, for an artist, and please tell me if I'm wrong, Nandor, is to be able to go, I will be successful, and I do need to be paid, right? That's how this economy works. I need somebody with way more money than me to pay me so I can eat. Imagine if they said, we will pay you, and by the way, that work is yours. That's hard to turn down.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's less.
Completely.
Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, even if it's less, it's like at least you know that this is mine. I mean, it's like everyone knows like this is yours, but legally it's not. And it's that's wrong. It's like for you to go, yeah, this is yours, but actually it's not when it comes to the brass tacks of getting money and money for it. I mean, that right there, it's like it seems morally just shady. It's like that's not fair. That's not a fair shake to anyone. And I mean that's a big reason why I wanted to make my own books. Just instead of working on trying to talk with editors and just work for them and work for hire, it's like I want to make my own stuff because my own stuff is really important to me, and I want to be able to own it too. And that way, if anything comes from it, it's mine, and no one can be like, well, that's not yours actually. And I mean, this all this stuff that's happening is really informing me and is helping me as someone that wants to get better and better and work with more people to really watch, really read contracts and watch myself, because this is too bad that this happens, and I hope something good comes from it. I hope something changes, and we're able to talk about it in a better light.
Yeah, I hope Alan Moore's in his castle just laughing at DC.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if anyone
his spells work. That's what happened. He fucking cast it right. I fucking told you that spell was gonna work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man.
I do think change is coming. This is how change happens. Everybody thinks that there's no way the system is going to change, and this is exactly how it happens. And this is as good as you're going to get from outside of a revolt. So moving on. Also stirring some energy, right? So people, big names leaving Batman and all that. But this one stirred some energy. So Tim Drake, in the latest anthology, what is it called?
Urban Legends, Batman Urban Legends.
Batman Urban Legends, and this little short story, Tim Drake is confirmed as being at least bisexual. So he has a friend there, I guess, that hadn't been in the comics for a long time. And then he's very clear that he was interested in pursuing a relationship and seeing where that went. Danny, you're pretty big on DC, yeah?
Yeah, so I did check out. I haven't been reading Urban Legends because I wanted to read it once it was all out. But I mean, once I heard the news, I had to go check it out. And Tim Drake is my favorite Robin and continues to be my favorite Robin. So I will support.
So was it a surprise for you? Like, so you read the shit out of him. He's your favorite Robin.
No, I can see that being a part of his character, that he's like, because all throughout, even throughout Tynion's run, like, he's been trying to figure out who he's supposed to be. Like, is he supposed to be the next Batman? Is he supposed to be Red Robin? He changed over to being Drake for a while, which is a weird name, with a really weird costume. But like,
was it a duck? Did he look like Darkwing Duck?
That was, that was the whole. That's why he was brown. But whatever.
Oh wow.
But I think Tim is the one that has always struggled to find an identity. Like, I feel like all the other Robins are really like, Jason's the bad boy, don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like
right.
Nightwing is like the peak of kind of perfection. And Damien is just Damien.
Right.
And then we have other Robins too, but Tim Drake is always the one that's kind of struggled with his identity, not only as to where does he fit in with the Bat family, but even just with himself. He's lost his. He was the only one that hadn't lost his family when he became Robin. That happened later. So yeah, I mean, it completely makes sense that this is something that Tim would experience, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Some of the things I like to read the most about my superhero comics is really the more quiet moments of when they're just hanging around or on a date, or like the stuff that happens in between the big world-changing events.
You are literally the opposite of me. I was talking to Judah, and I was looking at these because I wanted to read like all of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has so many quiet moments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I went through the whole thing, and I was just like, no one got punched in the face. Why did I read that one? What do you think, Nandor? Is it Nandor or Nandor?
Nandor. Yeah.
Nandor. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Cool.
Well, that's all right. That's all right.
What do you think about this?
This was a surprise to me. Like I haven't really been reading anything with Tim Drake recently. I've been kind of slacking on my DC stuff, but I've been reading some of Tom King stuff. I really like Tom King, but I haven't been reading what's been going on with Tim Drake. And I've always loved all the Robins, and always been a big fan. I loved when he was Red Robin. I thought that was really, really cool. And so when I heard this, I was taken aback because I wasn't expecting it, and I did hear that there might have been some alluding to it in like a previous issue that had come out or something like that. So like when he meets his friend that hasn't been in there in a while, and it's like things maybe start to click there. But I'd have to read it to really, I think, give a better opinion on it.
Sure.
But I think what's disappointing to see is people see it and they're like, oh, Robin's bisexual. It's like, well, no, it's like Tim Drake is. It's not like it's these are different characters, and also it's not like someone pointed out that I thought was really good was these characters they've been around for 30-40 years, but in the universe they've only been around for a few or whatever, or like Tim Drake is only 16 and he's not an adult or whatever. I think people get it wrong when they're like, why would they do this to this character that's been around for 30-40 years? It's like, well, technically in this in the universe it's not that, so you have to think about it a little bit more, and not not just come to conclusions or whatever.
Well, I think a good answer, and this is something I saw in some of our Facebook groups, is I think something that people need to realize is, even if you go the first route and just go literally how long has the character been around in books, the Comics Code Authority would not let you have a gay character. And
totally.
You're talking about this hypothetical person is talking about years that wasn't even allowed. And so what I found interesting was so a lot of our moderators are in the LGBT community. Ainsley and G and Ree, Michael. So these people are talking about it, and especially Ainsley. Ainsley made a good point. Is like, how long have you been reading? Because it was very clear that the character was coded as a part of the LGBT community. Now, I sit there, I go, oh, okay. Like, how can other people not know it? Well, how do you not know? By not being close or interact with the LGBT community in general.
Yeah.
I remember a conversation I had, unrelated conversation, where we were talking about like characters that are clearly BIPOC, and it's like, but these characters are aliens, or they're an anthropomorphic character, and they're like, well, how is that person black? I'm like, well, you could just look how he's acting, look what he's doing, look what he's saying, look how he carries himself, and it's like these are coded. So if you don't understand or been around a lot of black, indigenous, or people of color in general, like then you won't be able to really hone in on it. You won't be able to see that. And
Yeah.
so it takes somebody in the LGBT community to go, like 2004 or whenever Tim Drake was being written, is like, that dude's gay, and everybody else is like, what? Nah, stop. 2021 minds blown. What do you think, Aramis?
So, here's the thing. I haven't read much DC lately, but if there was proper setup to it, and if people knew almost immediately, I don't understand why people are complaining.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like the Iceman reveal, which was absolute awful.
You felt like that was kind of forced?
Little.
Right. A tad? Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that about Iceman too, though, so I don't know. I don't know.
I think the execution of Iceman was probably not the best. I think the follow-up has been a lot better because they actually involve people from the community to extend on that story. But yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that's gonna be on your omnibus, but it's not a Bendis X-Men omnibus. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So we'll talk about this one. This is gonna be a little something that Danny will like.
No, I love Doom Patrol. It's so good.
So this is our last news item for the night, and then we'll take off. But DC's Doom Patrol being sassy bitches in Twitter, throwing spears at MCU, fresh off their season 3 trailer premiere earlier this week. HBO Max's Doom Patrol firing shots at the competition. So some of these are hashtag what if, right? So
yeah,
damn. Okay. What if y'all made comic book shows that people actually watched and got Emmy nominations for? What if you worried about making a good show instead of trying to speak to your superiors? Who's the superiors? Is that DC? Like,
wait, wasn't WandaVision nominated for stuff though?
I don't know. You are not on their level. This is somebody said this is like watching my parents fight. What if y'all could make movies? So here's the thing. So my brain is this. Here's how my brain is going right now. Clearly this is a troll move, and what do trolls want? They want to stir up interactivity. They want to see you squirm, and in this sense, it's marketing. But my brain is like it's just marketing. It's just marketing. It's just your movies suck. Like, and you're my brain. I know Danny doesn't agree. I'll let you respond here in a second. But it's like when you look at the past 12 years of MCU and the rollout of WandaVision and the rollout of the Winter Soldier and how many people fucking love the fuck out of Loki, like none of them had any problems. Like where's Titan at? Titan has a mixed review. They're not killing it. Like some people love it, some people don't. Everybody loves Loki. I think this is the gall of a TC property to call out the fucking MCU, the king of cinema, of superhero cinema. Jesus. Go ahead, Daddy.
This is if for anyone that's watched the show or anything, like this is what they would do. Like they are clearly like it's just so on brand. It's really cool marketing because it's really on brand with what the show is. I will say Doom Patrol is one of the best adaptations of any comic book. Like they are adapting Grant Morrison's run to like it's incredible. It's incredible what they're doing. The characters, Brendan Fraser as Robot Man, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. You get Timothy Dalton to be on your comic book show, like that's so great. If you haven't watched Doom Patrol, I can't say good enough things about it. Good things about it.
So good.
Good. And
would you tell people to read the books first? Or just go just watch it?
No, I think you should. You can watch the show. I haven't read all of Grant Morrison's. listen, going back to read all the Grant Morrison stuff, comics back then used a lot of words, a lot, and I mean a lot. Like,
Yeah, there's a reason I don't read prose. So when I pick up Jonathan Hickman, I'm like,
exactly.
here we go.
And I'm sure people enjoy it, but like all those like graphics and infographics in between and essays in between, sometimes I skip those.
Yeah,
and I know we have a creator here, so I'm sorry if you put that in your work.
No. I'm the same way. I mean, there's a time and a place for it, but if you do it all the time, it gets really exhausting.
Right. It is.
But it's funny because it's the little guy punching up right at the big corporation, the well-oiled machine.
Sure.
It's just this band of misfits that's what they do. That's the Doom Patrol. But yeah, it's really funny. I just think it's a good move. It's very well planned because they're using their own what if hashtag, and some of the stuff they tweeted out, it's really.
What he was gonna say was some of the stuff they tweeted out was totally uncalled for and would not have ever.
Oh.
Yeah, you back?
Did I freeze? Disney's trying to take me off the air.
Yeah. So what you said is some of the stuff they wrote, some of the stuff they tweeted was what?
Oh, just some of the stuff they tweeted is really funny. Like the what if Niles wasn't a douchebag that was ruining everyone's lives? So like if you've been watching the show, it just fits in. I'm interested in the next season because the last season was cut short one episode because of COVID. So we never really got a resolution on that. So hopefully they'll tie that up. And
are they calling this a continuation, or are they calling that one episode?
They're just calling it the next season. I think they're just gonna tie up last season with the first episode, and then move on.
Yeah.
And Titans just became a Batman show because Batman sells.
Right.
So
right.
Whatever.
Is it in the same universe? Is the HBO Max universe together, or are they just?
No, it's a whole multiverse. If you watch the Crisis crossover with the CW, there's a really nice thing at the end that tells you where each one of the shows, what Earth they're on.
Oh.
Yeah. And I like it. I love
Zack Snyder's Flash showed up, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
So it's all connected, and multiverse has been a thing for DC, and I'm glad they're finally embracing it and not having to stick to continuity because continuity was not their forte.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have like a meta Deus Ex Machina. It's like hey, none of our shit works. What do we want to say? Multiverse, baby. None of it has to work. And Marvel really did the same thing. It's like now people are like, now Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are canon again. It's just in a different universe.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you watch any of these? Do you watch like Titan or Doom Patrol, Nandor?
Yeah, I've watched Doom Patrol. I watched some of Titans, but I kind of fell off on that one. I thought Doom Patrol was a lot better. I really love Doom Patrol, but I think this is perfect for what they're trying to do. I mean, and it's kind of tongue in cheek, you know. They're kind of just taking jabs and having fun with it. But
I mean, I don't even really care. Fuck
right. but like Doom Patrol, if anyone's kind of been on the fence about it, it's so weird, but that's what makes it so awesome because you're watching all this crazy stuff happen and you're like, how does this even work? But like all the characters are just so good and all the actors are incredible. It's a great show. That's
dope. Amaris, do you watch this?
I have seen all seasons of Titans and Doom Patrol.
I've seen all of Titans. I feel like they lean into the name Dick way too much.
Titans,
I feel like they're doing that on purpose.
Titans has like some good stuff. I'm not a big fan of Starfire. She's pretty whack, I think.
Really? Okay.
As for Doom Patrol, more on topic, the only thing I don't like is Cyborg. He's like the one character I don't really want to be watching because the stuff that happens in the show is pretty crazy. You know, like they're talking to astronauts and stuff, and here's Cyborg complaining that his girlfriend won't eat her sandwich. Do we need to be watching this?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the astronauts.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll have to check it out.
If you want to rebuttal that, Danny, go ahead.
No. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think some of the Cyborgs episode, I
Aramis is ready
definitely
for this debate. That's what he wants.
well,
He's like, debate me.
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, I like the quiet moments in comics. Cyborg gets most of those quiet moments because all the other characters are kind of like they're they're too wild for them to not do anything wild with them. I think
Yeah.
Rita Far, what's her name? Elastigirl, or is that the one from the Incredibles? But anyway, she gets a lot of that stuff too. Just looking back, I mean, these are damaged characters that they keep finding out more and more stuff that's like super fucked up. I don't know how Grant Morrison wrote all this insanity because, but like I said, if you don't want to go read all that stuff, the TV show is the really good adaptation, and they just bring kind of everything. Like the villains that they brought. There's what's the name of the dinosaur that's also half vegetable or whatever that they brought?
Animal Man or something.
Yes, it's like I can't believe that they brought some of this stuff to live action.
You said he's an animal that's part vegetable.
He's
And
a
mineral.
Dinosaur. Yeah, he's a dinosaur that's also pet. Hold on, I'll look it up. You guys can keep going.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. So for DC, I'm not super read in. So like, if there's a show that comes out for a DC property, it should be something that I kind of am familiar with. Doom Patrol, I'm talking about like. I'm not even sure I've heard of Doom Patrol before this. That's how little I read DC.
Oh, wow.
So like, yeah, like everything else that comes out, like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. I know that. But Doom Patrol is like, what is that? The only Doom I know is Victor Von Doom. So like, that matters.
I'll recommend the Gerard Way run that he did for the imprint. I think it takes a lot of the ideas from Grant Morrison, but it brings them into a contemporary setting. You get a lot more payoff if you visited the old stuff, but it's still pretty good. And it's like Gerard Way, like he went on to he's doing what's his Netflix show?
Umbrella Academy,
which is very similar to Doom Patrol.
What's funny is I was gonna ask that, and I thought it might be a stupid question, but I was earlier, I was like, the way you're describing, I'm like, is it kind of like, and then same creators, or same showrunners?
Yeah,
so,
that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then I probably will like it. All right, because I definitely love Umbrella Academy. All right. Well, that is the close. Before we shut this down, let me remind everybody that in the description at the very top is a link to Kickstarter. So if you're watching this live now, or if you're watching this stream later after we're done recording this, make sure to go down there, click it, and support your boy Nandor Fox Schaefer. Yeah. Also, go check out Next Issue Podcast with Danny and friends. He and I know you guys do a live show on Sundays, and you just churn out content, just constantly reviewing stuff, reactions to trailers. Make sure you check them out. And then at the bottom of the description is I Freaking Love Comic Socials. That you click our link tree and you get everything you need there. And then Aramis helps us run the Discord. Our Discord is
it's lit.
Yeah, it's I am doing this soft boycott of Facebook. Facebook is fucking super garbage, and it's just becoming more and more aware. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. I came across a public page where this dude is like a straight up Nazi, but because he doesn't like say like the hard N word, he'll just do like these super fucked up offensive like memes, but it's all public. And I go through it and report him, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. And Facebook comes back, doesn't break the rules. Polly in the chat used the word hanged, I forget the actual context, but she wasn't threatening anybody. Just used the word hanged, or hung, or something like that. Ainsley used the word kidnapped jokingly, and they both got bans, like straight up bans. And it was like, and then what the fuck is going on with this platform? And so I decided to just, you know what, I'm gonna go live in Discord. And at the time, Danny, Aramis, and then G. So it was like us four just kind of having it was a 4-person Discord. We all just kind of talking to each other, and it's
Yeah.
grown. And I'd say we probably have in the teens, getting in the low 20s of people coming in and having a blast. So
Yep.
make
Oh,
sure,
that's awesome.
yeah, make sure you guys check that out. We do have other live shows. We just posted Robert Venditti. We did a Bad Idea Valiant DC. We just posted that video of the interview. Check that out. And also our live
I love his retweet that this interview started with him talking about something else that wasn't comics.
Yeah.
And then they went on to the rest of the interview.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was I actually added that into the video because
That's
we were
funny.
bullshitting before the interview, and then I was like, "Can I add it?" Because I thought it was funny. You're just talking about how he fucked up hanging up his pictures and stuff. So
that's what it
cool.
was. Yeah.
So so check that out. But we also have a live show on Saturdays. Really, just follow our socials and you'll get them because it's either Saturday or Sundays, depending on real life issues. But we're reading through the entire Valiant catalog. And so we're doing Valiant Club. And we're also reading all of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. And so we just got done with book 3, and we'll be doing book 4 here in about a week or so. Actually, this
Best
week
book.
coming up.
Best book, I say.
Best one.
In my humble opinion.
All right. So, ladies, gentlemen, and Nebbies, that is the end of our show. Thank you very much. And if you have not done so already, click like, subscribe. Things are getting real out there. Please just wear your mask. Wear your mask. And if you haven't got vaccinated, it's safe. So wear a mask, get vaccinated, hydrate. We are out.